Hi yogis, and welcome to this gentle tone and stretch yoga class for all levels. No props are needed for this class today. When you're ready, we're going to begin in standing pose at the backs of our mats. When you arrive, just take a moment to check in here by taking a few breaths in and out. Standing up tall in your mountain pose. Arms by your sides, palms face forward. Reach your shoulders up toward your ears and relax them back down. Take a long, deep inhale through your nose and exhale through the mouth. On your next inhale, spread your arms out and wide, up overhead, maybe looking up toward your fingers, coming into a slight back bend here if that works for you today. And exhale, release, floating your hands all the way down to the mat. When you arrive, take a moment here in your forward fold, releasing through the neck and just releasing through the head, maybe grabbing onto opposite elbows and shaking back and forth side to side. Releasing both hands back down to the mat. Plant your right hand and open your left hand up toward the sky for a little twist. Exhale, release, moving to the other side. Plant your left hand and open your right hand up to the sky. Release back down and begin to walk yourself out to plank pose. Walking your hands forward, make sure when you arrive in your plank pose, your shoulders are stacked over your wrists. Fire up the core and fire up your quads to support you here in this plank pose. From here, we're going to come into a couple knee taps, lowering both knees to gently tap the mat, and then coming back up into plank pose. Go ahead and gently lower your knees, tap, and come back up to plank pose. Let's do 5 rounds of these knee taps on your time. Great job, yogis. Now lowering both knees, tuck through your toes and sit back onto your heels for a deep toe stretch. If this is too much for your feet today, you can always leave the toes untucked as well. From here, we'll come into eagle arms, extending both arms straight out in front of you. Wrap your right arm under your left, bending at the elbows and wrapping once or twice. The backs of your hands will either be touching or your palms can be touching, whatever works for you today. Either way, go ahead and lift your elbows up and away from you, feeling the stretch through your shoulders and upper back. Exhale, release the arms, extending them long in front of you yet again, switching sides, this time wrapping the left arm underneath the right, bending at the elbows to come into eagle arms on this side. This time, tuck your chin to your chest and lower your elbows toward your midline to feel a bit different of a stretch and core connection. Go ahead and release and walk yourself back out into an all fours or tabletop pose. Hands under shoulders and hips over knees. When you arrive, let's take 1 round of cat-cow. On your inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze, look up. And exhale, tucking chin to chest, rounding through the back. Come back to a neutral tabletop pose and extend your right leg long, foot lifted, about in line with your hip. Extend your left arm long in front of you. We'll go through a few rounds of crunches here, touching our left elbow to our right knee. Exhale, crunch, and inhale, straighten both arm and leg. Again, exhale, knee to elbow, and inhale, straighten. Once more, elbow to knee, and release. Back to tabletop pose, and let's switch sides. Extending your left leg long behind you, foot lifted, again about in line with your hip. Extending your right arm forward in front of you. Let's go through the crunches on this side. On your next exhale, crunch elbow to knee, and inhale, straighten. Exhale, crunch, and inhale, straighten. Once more, exhale, crunch, and inhale, straighten. Go ahead and release and come back to a neutral all fours position. Go ahead here and lower your elbows, keeping your elbows directly under your shoulders and your forearms on the mat. Your fingers spread wide and flat on the mat, about shoulder width distance, much like you're setting up for a forearm plank. Now begin to tuck through your toes and lift your hips up toward the sky for our Dolphin Pose, which is much like downward facing dog but on your forearms. Your head is still lifted off the mat. Stay here or begin to bring your feet a few centimeters closer toward your face. Hold and breathe. Now coming into forearm plank, walk your feet back out and keep your knees lifted. And we're in a traditional forearm plank. Inhale here and exhale. We'll come into side forearm plank from here, starting with the left. Root down through your left forearm, spinning to the edge of your left foot. Stack your right foot on top of your left and release your right arm toward the sky. Side forearm plank. Exhale, release back to center and switch sides. Grounding through your right forearm, spin to the edge of your right foot and stack your left foot on top of your right, releasing your left arm to the sky. Back to center and release all the way down to the mat. Great job, yogis. From here, make your way onto your back and bring your knees into your chest for a little hug. Rocking back and forth, just release through the lower back here for a few moments. From here, we'll come into a couple more core toning and coordination poses. We're going to start with a bridge pose flow variation. Releasing your knees and bringing the soles of your feet to the mat. Knees up toward the sky, arms along sides. You should be able to tickle the backs of your heels for proper alignment for this bridge pose. Now on your next inhale, begin to push into your feet and lift your hips toward the sky, at the same time lifting your arms up and overhead. Exhale, release back down, hands come back toward your sides and hips on the mat. Let's flow again. Inhale, lift the hips, lift the arms up overhead, and exhale, release. From here, we'll come into a pose called Dead Bug. Lifting your knees up in line with your hips, shins parallel to the mat. Fingers up toward the sky, bend at your elbows, and make sure your elbows are positioned over your shoulders. Already some gentle toning happening here in our core, making sure to really power through your core here to keep your lower back flat on the mat. Now from here, on your next inhale, we're going to straighten just our left leg and our right arm toward the sky. Some coordination here, and exhale back. Inhale, now straighten the right leg and your left arm toward the sky. And exhale, release. Let's go through 4 more rounds of that. Inhale, left leg, right arm. Exhale, back. Inhale, right leg, left arm. Exhale. Left leg, right arm. Release. Right leg, left arm. Release. Left leg, right arm. Release. Right leg, left arm. Release. Left leg, right arm. Release. And right leg, left arm. Release. Bring the soles of your feet back to the mat. Let's move through 2 more rounds of that bridge pose flow we did earlier. Arms along your sides. On your next inhale, begin to lift your hips up and arms up, extended overhead. And exhale, release back down. Once more, inhale, everything lifts. And exhale, release. Now we're going to come into another variation of dead bug, but this time all of our limbs are going to be straightened up toward the sky. No bend in our elbows or knees. From here, we're going to lower our left leg and our right arm. So still the opposite limbs moving, but this time lowering them all the way down to the mat. So take an inhale to prepare, and exhale, lower left leg long on the mat and right arm long up overhead. Inhale, everything back up toward the sky. On your next exhale, this time your right leg goes long on the mat, left arm long up overhead. Inhale, back up. Exhale, left leg, right arm. Inhale, up. Exhale, right leg, left arm. Inhale, up. Once more, each side. Exhale, left leg, right arm. Inhale, up. And exhale, right leg, left arm. Inhale, up. Go ahead and release your feet and your hands. Bringing your knees back into your chest, give yourself another squeeze. Just release through the lower back here. When you're ready, we're going to rock up to a seated pose for a quick full body stretch before ending class. When you arrive in seated, extend your right leg long on the mat, sole of the left foot to the inner right thigh. We're going to come into a baby wild thing pose, which will feel great to stretch out the core after our toning exercises. Go ahead and plant your left arm behind you and begin to push to lift your hips up, and your right hand will come up and overhead. Release your hips back down. Bring your chest in line with your extended leg and just begin to gently forward fold, walking your hands out to either side of your shin or maybe your ankle. Begin to walk yourself back up, and let's switch sides. This This time, extending your left leg long on the mat, sole of the right foot to the left thigh. Plant your right arm behind you and begin to push to lift your hips up to the sky. Left hand up and overhead. Baby wild thing. And release. Center yourself over your extended leg and go ahead and forward fold. Begin to walk your hands back in. Bring both legs long out in front of you and begin to slowly release all the way down to a flat back. Ending today in a spinal twist, bring both knees in and just slowly drop your knees to the right, opening up through your left arm, gazing toward the left. Inhale back to center, and this time drop your knees over to the left, right arm extended long out to the side, and look toward the right. Inhale back to center. You may end class today in a traditional Shavasana with legs out long, arms out wide, or an option here for an additional hip opener to end class in Supta Baddha Konasana or Butterfly Pose. Bring the soles of your feet together and allow the knees to gently lower toward the sides of the mat. The closer your feet are toward your pelvis, the deeper the stretch will be in your hips. Find the pose that works for you and your body today. And when you arrive, I invite you to take a long, deep inhale through your nose and exhale through the mouth. Let's do that again, yogis. Long, deep inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Take as long as you need in this pose today. Thank you for joining me for class today. Be well. Namaste.